Jessica with Stamp Punch Love, and today we'll be making a little tip bag. But before we get started, I want to introduce my cat, Ducky. He has a domestic long hair, and he is the personality behind the videos. So this is the project we'll be making today, the little tint bag. It has a 2-inch base, and we'll be using the Scallop tag topper punch. This one is Tip Top Taupe with Early Espresso, and this one is Pink Pirouette with Smoky Slate, all Stampin' Up. When you open it up, you can see there's quite a bit of space to put some goodies in. I was in a baby mood, so I used the baby stamp from Tag Talk on these two prototypes, and then an 1/8-inch brad to hold it down. So here I'm pulling in kind of a sketch of our score lines and cut lines. We're using a 6-inch by 7.5-inch piece of cardstock, and we're scoring at every 2 inches. So that'll leave 2-inch sections all the way around with a 1.5-inch at the end. And then we are making diagonal score lines and cut lines from there. So let's get started. We're going to make this version kind of a little boy version. So we've done neutral and pink. This one will be in Marina Mist, our cardstock. Actually our ink as well. And let's zoom in so we can see. Like I said, we're going to score every 2 inches on both the long and the short side. So at 2, at 4, and at 6. And then on our short side, when we rotate it around, it'll be at 2 and at 4. Now I'm going in marking on the ends. I'm marking at 1 and 5, basically the center of those outside squares. So if you remember on our white sheet, we're cutting off those end pieces there. So I'm just going all the way down so I have a nice lined up mark. And then on the sides and those centers, we're doing it at 3 and then at 4.5, because when we flip it, that's what's at the center. Now we're done with our scoreboard, and honestly, I usually like to stamp before I score, but I kind of had a little brain fart here. So now we're going to put in our diagonal score lines so that we get nice crisp folds and edges on our little tint bag. So we're going to line up, I prefer a metal ruler, but we're going to line up at that little notch mark that we made. Little tick mark, we're going to line that up with the corner of that 2-inch square that we created. This is the center one, so it's going to be our pointing in down to the corner. Now on our end blocks, we're going to do the same thing, and so the top of the page down to the corner on all of those. And then here, where we made that tick mark, we're doing it here, but obviously not in the 1.5-inch section, just the 2-inch sections. So now we're gonna stamp. Like I said, it's usually I usually like to do this before I score, but I kind of had a little bit of a brain fart. So I'm using the spots or the polka dots from Endless Birthday Wishes. That's what I used on all of them to create my designer series paper DSP, quote unquote. Now we're going to fold all of our straight score lines. We're going to wait on those diagonals for now. And time to cut. So we're going to take off that 1.5-inch rectangle from both sides really quickly. And after we do that, actually I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole side right now. But after we do that, we take that one out. We're going to cut along that diagonal score line we made from our tick mark. So we have like a triangular flap there. And then we're going to cut away that big piece. I hold on to mine because they're perfect for our stamping later. So we're going to leave our center section, the one that we did both 2 diagonal score lines on, we're going to leave that one. So we want to away our score line, our little ridged part. And then down that diagonal score line again, so we have another little triangular flap. Repeat on the other side, and now we have this shape, which you should recognize from our white sketch that I showed at the beginning. See? Now it all makes sense. So now we're going to fold our diagonal score lines that we have left. Make sure that you fold like the stamped part to the stamped part. So basically you want that large triangle to, come to the inside. So fold everything up so that it'll fit in your tag topper punch. Slide it all the way in until it butts up and punch. And now you have the perfect little scallop part as well as your hole that you're going to use to make your closure. I like to cut these off here just because it folds up a little more nicely for me. Honestly, you wouldn't even have to do the diagonal score lines if you didn't want to. I'm kind of picky and like to have those kind of things exact just so I know that my notch on the bottom is perfect. Now we're going to put our adhesive on. I'm still using sticky strips, sorry guys. But again, I know it's a really good adhesive for 3D projects and it's going to hold up. So this is something that I should have done before I put my adhesive on, but again, I had a brain fart. So just notch off those tops so that it folds up a little more evenly for you. Remove your adhesive and now line up your scored line with your free edge. That way you get a perfectly square little box/bag. Now you're basically done. Your main construction is done. So we're just kind of fiddling with it and moving the cat out of the way. And now we're taking our paper piercer, and you don't want to do it right at the bottom of that hole. You want to kind of center it up just slightly. You can see I did it kind of where the straight line starts. Now open it up, grab your brad. In this case, I'm using a white one. These are not Stampin' Up. I just haven't managed to get the 1/8 of an inch brads from Stampin' Up yet, but they are silver. They're very nice, just like everything Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up cardstock is excellent for 3D projects. I have tried others, and as you've heard from my last project, I am Stampin' Up cardstock proponent all the way. So here I'm just making sure my brad is lifted up enough that whoever receives this little box will be able to open it and close it easily and nicely. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I have a little scrap piece of white cardstock here and, a background piece. And I'm using Label Love this time. I know it's a retired stamp set, but I just couldn't resist the cutest baby ever piece. Now I'm going to take my 7/8 of an inch scallop circle punch from Stampin' Up and pop that out once I line it up. Sometimes it's easier said than done. So put that aside for some other little stamping bit I'll do, and now I'm going to take that scrap that we cut out from our piece earlier and punch out a 1-inch circle. Now, one of my favorite tools/adhesives ever, we are going to pop this up with dimensionals. Just something that once I found I cannot live without. Center up that little stamp piece over our 1-inch circle. And now the next dimensional we're going to place near the bottom because we're going to kind of hang off our circle from the top edge. So we want it to, we don't want to show our dimensional on the back. We want it to be nice and clean. Place that. And of course you can place it anywhere you want. This is just where I decided to place it. You could also place it down below the tab so that you just kind of fold it in instead of using a brad. So there are the two prototypes, our neutral, our pink, and our blue. Thanks for watching today, guys. Thanks and gig 'em.